Hello and welcome back to the Cars Ireland YouTube channel. I'm Sinead and today I will be showing you around one of the latest models in BMW's ever-growing electric range. It's the iX1. If you're new here, then welcome. We are a dedicated Irish car review channel reviewing Irish cars on Irish roads. And if that sounds like something interesting to you, then please hit subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest models to hit the market. So, as the name suggests, it's an electric X1. Well, technically the baby of the BMW X range, this is no slightly raised super mini. In fact, it offers probably as much space as most of the mid-size crossovers on the market, which we will examine in more detail very shortly. So a quick word on the design. It's pretty much the same as the new X1, bar the compulsory blanked out electric grille, plus you can add some extra blue trim if you want an even more EV look. Personally, I think it's one of the better looking cars in the class, and despite a relatively small footprint, for a BMW I should say, it does offer quite a bit of space inside. The boot, for example, comes in at 490 litres, which is not far off that of a Qashqai, or to put it in the context of its more premium rivals, it's quite a bit larger than the Volvo XC40 Recharge and the Mercedes-Benz EQA. It's a good usable space. You've got a nice flat load area. It's big enough to swallow a travel system, as you can see, and naturally enough, an electric tailgate. Space in the back was also another welcome surprise for the iX1. As you can see, knee room is very generous. Now, because there is a big old battery pack under the floor, those of longer leg might find they have to have a slight bend. Luckily enough, that's not a huge problem for me. This is set up in my driving position, and for reference, I am 167 centimetres tall. Width-wise, like most modern crossovers and cars in general, it's a 2.5 seater really. And the middle seat, while usable in a pinch, is not going to be too comfortable for any full-size humans on a longer stretch. Plus, when you're not using it, you can use this very cool pull-down centre armrest, complete with cup holders in a very logical place. Some manufacturers can put them in the middle here, which means you can't get your elbow on, and all sorts of first world problems ensue. I'm also happy to report that it is large enough to take a rear-facing child seat without impeding on front seat passenger comfort, which is a big plus for me as a parent. Now, the children back here should also be well impressed with the comfort and facilities on offer, which include 2 USB charging ports for charging those screens, which also makes me very happy as a parent, especially on a longer journey. Now, up front, while undoubtedly fabulous, doesn't quite give the full fat luxurious BMW experience. It is the entry-level model to the X range after all, but low-fat BMW luxury is still pretty good. The cabin has a nice airy, spacious feel to it. You're surrounded by an impressive amount of tech and screenage, and there's just a generally highbrow vibe, helped in no small part by these impressively bolstered leather seats and the chunky BMW steering wheel. Everything just feels very substantial and bulky in the best possible way. There's plenty of adjustment in the driver's seat, although it is manual. Again, more first world problems there. And I do feel like you sit slightly higher up than it might feel in some of the other X cars. Very, very comfortable seats though, and I really do love this cream leather interior. I think it really brightens up the cabin. And now for the multimedia system. Now, it certainly looks very impressive, especially this dual screen setup that stretches right the way across the dash and also acts as a digital cockpit. Now, it might look a little bit overwhelming at first. There's lots of tile apps here. It's a bit like a busy phone screen. But once you learn the system, it's actually pretty easy and intuitive to use. Plus, you've got some handy shortcuts along the side here if you want to access any functions in a hurry. Plus, if you don't like it, you can always just switch to Apple CarPlay and/or Android Auto. The temperature controls, unfortunately, are also built into the screen. But once again, I must say, quite easy to use. And again, you've got a shortcut down the bottom. So there's no iDrive wheel on the iX1, it's completely screen-based, which does leave the centre console feeling nicely uncluttered. You've got a couple of good-sized cup holders and a handy central storage area that might work a bit better if it opened on the right side, but maybe your passenger will appreciate it. What is really well placed, I will say, is the wireless charging hub. A great little feature, but don't worry if your phone doesn't have it, because you've got another couple of USB charging ports here. Standard spec is very generous, and rightly so, for a starting price of €56,000 for the entry-level sport model. But of course, this being the press car, is the M Sport X Drive with all the bells and whistles and a grand total of €74,000. So let's see what it drives like. So the BMW iX1 is powered by a 65 kilowatt hour battery capable of up to 465 kilometers on a single charge, which is pretty impressive even by today's standards. And even if that only equates to 350, 400 in real life, I think that's in and around the type of figure that people have finally accepted as enough, in that even if you only want to charge it once a week and have a short commute, but is also capable of a much longer one. Now, energy usage is about in line with what I've been using for my week so far, in that the kilometres are coming off the clock pretty accurately, with no major unexplained drop-offs in mileage despite some pretty cold conditions, so that is good. Then as for what it's like to drive, I think it drives exactly what you might expect an all-electric BMW SUV to drive like, in that it's very smooth, very comfortable, very powerful and very refined, but actually quite a bit of fun too. It's got the equivalent of about 310 brake horsepower, so it is a very, very quick SUV. Probably not what it's going to be used for, in fairness, but it is really nice to have that rapid acceleration on tap if and when you need it. The steering is nice and light and precise, and I think as far as this size, family, all-electric SUVs go, it's definitely one of the most fun to drive. So that is the BMW iX1, a premium, not so small SUV with plenty to offer, both in the line of space and performance. Is it worth the hefty price tag? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. Please like and share if you enjoyed the video, and if you'd like to see more like it, please hit subscribe. If you're in the market for a BMW iX1 or an X1 or any other make and model for that matter, make sure to head over to CarsIreland.ie to choose from hundreds and thousands of new and used cars.